Maybe we're all just purple cornflowers surrounded by a bunch of marigolds. Have you ever thought about that? Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I am in my humble garden today. The weather is pretty nice out today. It was super hot the past couple of days, like it was super hot and humid. And this is my second time trying to film this intro, guys. First time I filmed it, I was not in focus. So I hope I'm in focus now. Okay, I should be. And I also was like sweating my sunscreen off. And so in the spirit of doing things and doing things well, I am reshooting my intro. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about late bloomers. I am a late bloomer. And when I say I was a late bloomer, guys, I really mean it. Like, I was the last person in my graduating set to say her period. I was 15 going on 16 the year my period came. I was so ashamed. Generally, like, girls begin the process of puberty around the ages of 8 to 14, and the entire process from girlhood to adolescenthood will take about 4 years. So on average, most girls would have completed that process, that's growth process, by the age of 14. And here I was at 15, still patiently waiting on my time to come. The summer I was to turn 16, I remember I was in church on a hot Sunday afternoon in Nigeria, and I was praying to God. I said, God, I don't care that some have food and cannot eat, and that some can eat but have no food. I just want to see my period. Please, God, please, 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 please give me my period. Anyway, that Sunday afternoon, I went home and I felt a sudden urge to pee. So I went to the washroom and I looked down. I'm like, oh my God. I'm part of the Red Panties Club, yay! And unbeknownst to me, my mom was actually getting really scared that there was something wrong with me. And like, very soon she would have taken me to a doctor to be like, hey, can you please check on my daughter? So eventually when he came, I'm like, oh my God, mommy, my period's here. She's like, yay! My daughter is normal. What does it mean to be a late bloomer? A late bloomer is somebody whose talents or capabilities are invisible to others until later than usual. And so this means that this individual, or for example me, we're accomplishing certain milestones, whether biological or intellectual or financial or societal expectations. We're accomplishing those milestones a little later than usual. There's usually a negative connotation to it, that there's something quite not normal here. Like what everybody else has seemed to accomplish, you are lagging behind. It carries that sense that you should have grown or developed in a certain area, and then when you see that you're not accomplishing those things, usually like societal pressure or societal expectations, you tend to think, okay, maybe there is something wrong with me. I remember the year that I turned 30, I literally cried that I was turning 30 because I'm like, I haven't done anything with my life. What was expected, or what the expectations I had growing up at such a adult grown age, nothing came to materialize. I didn't have a house, I didn't have a car. I was still living in a basement apartment I had been in since I was 23. I didn't really have any money. Like, I didn't like the career that I was in. Okay, yeah, some part of it was my fault, and some part of it was just a thing of not having the opportunity to experience. There was a lot of lag, a lot of lack, a lot of expectations that I hadn't met. And these were personal expectations and societal expectations, because yeah, as an African Nigerian woman, by 30, like, you're expected to have all these things figured out. You're expected to be in your husband's home at 30, or at least be in a serious relationship heading towards marriage at 30. And when I was not even having a talking stage, it was like, okay, what is wrong with me? This certainly should be my fault, right? And there's also an anxiety that comes with feeling like your time has passed, it's too late, you can't do it now. You look around you and everybody else seems to have it all figured out. Everybody else's life seems to be like thriving, and they are reaching these milestones as expected. Like, I had friends that were on their second properties, had friends that were getting into serious relationships, or even like tying the knots and declaring their undying love for each other in front of God and man. I had friends that were, you know, just traveling the world and financially capable and thriving in their careers and earning like high six figures and buying brand new cars and building, you know, new houses. And I would just go home and just feel like, what is wrong with me? Why aren't I achieving the same things? Because when we were in our 20s, we're all literally on the same path. And at some point, I didn't realize that the path had deviated and I was still a couple kilometers away. You know, maybe thousands of kilometers away. So there's an anxiety, a sense of shame that comes with not achieving what you thought you were going to achieve, a sense of grief, of loss, of impatience as well. You tend to internalize all the faults. Everything becomes your fault. You start to blame yourself. I wish I had done this. I wish I was more confident. I wish I was more daring. And that process can be actually quite a lonely, depressing, shameful moment. You start to see yourself withdrawing from your friends, not wanting to be part of social interactions or like social events or activities. So you may start to doubt yourself more. You may start to think that the seed in you is dead or is lying dormant or has just refused to bloom. And so if that's a stage that you're in and you feel like you aren't bloomed yet, like honestly, this video is for you. Like I said, I am definitely identified as a late bloomer, and I am gonna tell you how I bloomed from being a dormant seedling to somebody that's blossoming into a beautiful petal, into a beautiful, large, big flower. Can you see my bell peppers growing? I'm so happy. I am so happy. My bell peppers are growing. So I need to repot it into a new container. Ooh, look at these beautiful roots. They're beautiful. So as I was saying, there's a particular type of shame that comes when you think that you're late to your own life. And this shame can manifest in a number of ways. So I did go through that process of like withdrawing and detaching myself from a lot of people. When you withdraw, there are two things that could happen. One, you self-flagellate and you blame yourself for all the circumstances in your life. Everything I could blame myself for, trust me, I did blame myself. But the good thing is that even though a lot of the things seemed to be not be going well for me, I had not lost my spirit. There was still an inkling, a tiny ember just still burning that says, Chisom, you're a talented person, man. There was still a little bit of a glow there that even in my state of like confusion and discipline, lack of discipline, and my poor self-esteem or whatever, there was something that was still lit, in me, in my spirit, that made me pursue my creative talent, because I decided to go back to who I was as a child. I always knew I was a creative soul. I was a creative being. I loved, color and light and arts and craft and film and television and cartoons. I loved how the creative mind worked. And as a kid, it's something I truly cherished and something I really had a lot of pride in. The older I got, and growing up in Nigeria where creative work in the 90s, I was born in 91. So in the 90s, if you're not a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, you can best believe that nobody rates you as an intelligent person. I wanted to be anything but myself. Yes, I was creative, but I wanted to be intelligent. I wanted to be known as smart. And those were my adjectives. And that is what I wanted to pursue. A sort of validation from others. So when I went into my withdrawal phase in life, where I was like, I don't like where my life is looking like. This seed in me is not blooming, and I don't like where it's going. And so that light, that ember started to reignite, that fire started to reignite. And even though I hated the circumstances of my life, I decided to nurture that seed or that talent. Oh, the Canadian geese are here. Ah, please don't attack me. Please don't attack me. Hello, Canada goose. Say hi. Hi. It can be quite aggressive if you're in their territory. So I'm just like, please just give me 30 more minutes. Let me finish this video and then you can come get your spot back. Lately, I've been thinking about this concept of like a benevolent gaze, that the way you look at something transforms the very nature of that thing. The stories you tell it transforms it. Like you can see like an ugly object, not that this is ugly or anything, but the way I talk to sometimes an inanimate object, the life I give it transforms the beauty of that thing. So now looking at yourself with a more nurturing, a more caring, a more loving space, looking at the time it's taking you to bloom rather than degrade it or condemn it or be filled with contempt or resentment about how far the journey is taking you. You can transform your language towards your journey. You can say, oh, it's taking me this long, but look at how much more I found in the process. Look at all the nuggets of talent I picked up along the way. Look at the character traits I'm building of perseverance, of kindness, of empathy, of care. You can look at your journey and at yourself that is more loving and it's kinder and more patient. How am I looking at me and my journey, and how is that transforming the very narrative, the very voice that I tell myself? In rewiring that, I'm like, you know what? Yes, it's taking me this long to figure things out, but eventually I'm going to figure it out. And if I don't figure it out, it's just life. I learned that bell peppers, before they change to a gorgeous like red color, they become like this black, brown, deep purple. When they're fully ripened, they turn a gorgeous red. If you're just transitioning through that period of just darkness and fear and anxiety, like there's this pressure, if you're transitioning and you see this darkness all over you and you're just like, oh my God, I hate being here, I hate my life, I hate this, you would not realize that your growth, your bloom is just right at the other side of change, of courage, of perseverance, of following through. You wouldn't realize. You might just be stuck in that process of like, oh, this is all that's going for me. But in that process of change, you have to realize, oh, I'm on my way to being a red bell pepper. And yes, I have to do the dirty work of self-discovery and self-reflection and journaling and meditation. I have to do all that work. I have to come to terms with my traumas and my past and my insecurities and my lack of self-esteem. I need to navigate all those feelings and come to terms with it and accept it and hug them and say, you are part of me. But within that is a blooming, a transfiguration that changes your outlook in life. And I want that for you, as I'm also wanting that for myself. And I don't have everything, though, guys. Like, my apartment currently doesn't have AC. So it's swelteringly hot in my apartment. But I'm like, I'm gonna go outside and find shade and have the air and the breeze around me and the trees just like bellowing with the wind. I mean, I love being in nature, but I would really will want to have an AC. But you have to make do with what you have. It's already growing roots. Holy smokes! It's growing roots on the cup. Oh my goodness. That is crazy, actually. Like, not every unaccomplished, like 30 or 40 or even 60-year-old is a late bloomer. Are we using the concept of a late bloomer to hide our laziness, our procrastination, our indifference? We need to be true to ourselves. How have our past behaviors and traits shaped the present? And how does it affect the future if we don't change course or if we don't change direction? How are you nurturing the seed in you, even though the people that were tasked with that responsibility when you were a kid, the adults in your life, the teachers in your life that were the nurturers, the caregivers, maybe they didn't show you that light and love that you so desired to bloom at the time. Now that we are grown, how are you taking that power back and that agency back to nurture yourself, to nurture your souls? Just because something is taking a little longer doesn't mean that you're failing or you're behind that life. It just means that sometimes things need space and time to grow. Maybe the seed inside of you is dead. And that's okay because you can always plant a new one. And that could mean changing careers, going back to school, leaving your country, going to a new country, going for therapy, leaving a relationship. There are so many bold changes or bold steps that you can make to change the circumstances of your life. And it's not easy, guys. It's very actually like, it's an anxious, difficult process, especially in the capitalistic world that we are living in. When I was living in my basement and dreading every single bloody moment of it, everything around me was double the price of my rent. Everything was just so much more expensive. My finances weren't making sense. Like, if I really did the math was not mathing. But I knew that I cannot thrive or bloom in this environment that I'm in. My seed is not going to germinate in this environment that I'm in because this is the source of shame and resentment, and I need to leave it. So eventually, I made that bold leap of faith. And the moment I made that bold leap of faith, everything just started to make sense somehow. You know, even though I still haven't quite figured it out, I am like really happy with where I am in life. I am just crafting a space that is purely mine. I go out and I see the sun. And even when I don't see the sun, I know that the sun is out there. I see the sun and like, I am so grateful for the sun streaming into my bedroom. I am so grateful because once upon a time I wanted this. I remember when my sister came to visit this past month, 2 months ago. We were driving my 2012 Toyota Corolla. And she's like, you know, Chisom, sometimes we yearn for something that, or we desire something that is so big and so marvelous. Well, like, you're literally driving your car. The last time I was here, you couldn't have picked me up from the airport. Would have to Uber everywhere. But like, yes, it's a small car, it's an old car, but it moves. And sometimes we're very quick to like wonder why we're here and not there. Why me and not why them and not me? Like, why are my circumstances in life this way? But if we really just stop to look around and say, I am not doing too badly. And even if I am doing badly, I do have the power to change it. So I was looking at the flowers to plant because I bought a lot of seeds, people. I got a couple flowers. I got some marigolds, I got some purple cone flowers, I got some zinnias. They're all really pretty and beautiful. So the marigold said that once I plant the seedlings should germinate between 7 to 14 days. And usually it should take about 70 days from the seed to go from a seed to bloom into a beautiful, gorgeous flower. And then I picked up another flower. This is the purple cone flower. The seeds usually germinate between 14 to 21 days. So that's literally like almost double the days of the marigold. And guess what, guys? Guess what? It takes a whole year for this to go from seed to bloom. A whole year. And I was just thinking about it. I'm like, the only reason why I know that it's going to take a year for this to grow is because it says that right in the packet. So if I had planted this and I planted the marigolds and the marigold is starting to germinate and starting to bloom and my purple cone isn't doing anything, I would think one of two things. Either the seed is dead or the seed is being troublesome, or I was doing something wrong because I'm a new gardener. I haven't quite learned the art of gardening. Maybe the soil wasn't good. I will start to blame things other than patience. Like, maybe we're all just purple cone flowers surrounded by a bunch of marigolds. Have you ever thought about that? But all along, there was nothing wrong with the flower. It was just working according to its timeline. And isn't that just humanity? Like, between me and you, we don't know what our timelines are. Like, I don't know when I'm going to be rich and famous and gorgeous. Okay, I'm already gorgeous. I don't know where my timeline in life is. I'm only judging my timeline by society's timeline. I don't know where my germination date is, where my blooming date is. Like, eventually it happened, just like my period. Eventually came before I turned 16. So when others had met it, mine eventually came. It just meant that it took a little bit more stewing, a little bit more flavoring, a little bit more, time and maturity for it to come to me, for what was mine to be mine. And when it eventually came, I appreciated it. I was ready for it. Like, I knew about periods. I knew all I had to do. It wasn't a thing of shame for me anymore. It was a thing of pride that this thing I wanted and I worked for and I prayed for so long has finally come to fruition. And I was able to appreciate it. So now when I see it happen every month, I'm not like, oh, my period's here. I'm like, oh, my period's here. You can bloom at the same time because you're completely different, unique people. You have different timelines, you have different journeys, you have different paths, you have different personalities, and we have to learn how to appreciate the uniqueness and the differences and just the stage that we are at in life. When we genuinely know that we are doing our best and we're getting up in the morning and willing to face the day as it comes to us. And so if you're in that process of change, I want you to trust the process and know that your seed is not dead, guys. Your seed is not dead. You might think it is, but it's still laying there somewhere dormant, waiting for you to shine the light on top of it, to shine the light on it. Plant it into the right soil, fertilize it, nurture it with kindness, guys. Literally, I was at work yesterday, and all I could think about was my garden. It's a really, really small garden, but sometimes I just come out in the morning and I want to keep it company. And the same way I love my garden is the same way I want to look at myself. Is if I'm going to take the time to nurture it and prune it and water it and tend to it and make sure it's getting enough light and soil and fertilizer, why won't I do the same thing to me? Why won't I nurture my mind? And I don't even mean it physically, oh, go get your nails done, but your body, your mind, your soul. What are you doing to take care of yourself? How do you talk to yourself? I wouldn't look at my tomato, I'm like, oh, you bloody tomato. No. Why are you not growing tomato? What am I doing now that's not working? What can I do differently? What does this tomato need to thrive? And it wouldn't thrive with harshness. I wouldn't kick it down. I wouldn't kick it and throw all the soil away because it isn't growing. No, I would actually take more care of it. You have to build that garden in your soul, in your mind. Your body is a garden. Your mind is a garden. What you feed it is what it's gonna give out to you. Are you feeding it with love, with care, with tenderness? Because if you're not, it's only going to give you a horrible harvest, or not at all, actually, right? If I kick down my container of soil, the tomato can bloom, or maybe it will, but to what end? To what cost? The other day, I looked out my window and I saw a squirrel eating my strawberries. It's literally perched on my deck, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you strawberry thing, get out of there. But then I tasted the strawberries and it didn't taste very good. So I'm like, okay, the squirrels can eat it. Okay, squirrel, you can have as many strawberries you want because I don't like them. I generally don't like strawberries, to be honest. I just thought the plant looked beautiful. The truth is that not everything falls into place when we want it to. Not everything happens on schedule, but that's actually a good thing because it allows us the chance to mature. It allows us the chance to get to know ourselves intimately. It allows us to follow our passions, our curiosity, and to know ourselves like deeply. Going through that transition process really gives you a different level of empathy and perspective to humanity and just the people you come across, you know. You're feeling a lot more understanding why some things take a little longer for some people. And that's actually a good character trait to have. Most late bloomers I have seen tend to be the creative kind, the ones that didn't really have much of a direction or much of like a guide throughout life or throughout their adolescent and youth phase. If you did have one and a creative soul and you had the mentor growing up, good for you. But if you were creative and you didn't really have a direction on where to how to channel this your gifts, it means that it's going to take you a little longer to figure it out. So I would say if you are somebody that's still trying to come to terms with how long it's taking you to live your life, how long it's taking you to discover your life and your path and your journey, go and look for people that figured it out late. Go and learn about their stories, get their biographies, find a role model that didn't write their first book until they turned 50 or they didn't write their first script until they turned 60, that didn't pick up a camera or a paintbrush until they were retired and they were like grandmas and grandparents. So look for people like that didn't realize themselves. If you're in your 20s, it could be somebody that's in their 30s, in their 40s. If you're in your 30s, it could be someone that is in their 60s. My mom is going back to school at 60. Is she a late bloomer? No, it's just that now she knows what she wants. She has found traits in herself that she wants to nurture and learn about, and she's back in school and she has the time to do it. Back then, she was preoccupied with raising 6 children, but now in her 60s and we're all grown and independent, she has time to focus on herself. And I don't look at her and say, oh, she's blooming late. No, I see her as someone that's not taking life for granted. I see her that's taking control of her life, that's saying, you know what, I don't want to just be here wasting away. I want to take charge of who I am and what I can do for the next, God knows how many more years I have on this earth. And I know I have a gift of empathy and nurture and care. So I'm going to go back to school to be a nursing assistant at 63. And she's doing the damn thing. She still has dreams and goals that she wants to accomplish. So society's timeline, guys, detach and decenter yourself from the timelines that society has told you should have. Detach yourself from the pressure that society gives you, whatever way that pressure is manifesting. Love, marriage, career, housing, like whatever it is, like center yourself with love, with nurture, with growth, with kindness, with empathy. Now look at the tree. It's just being a tree. It doesn't have to perform how to be a tree. It's just like, okay, I'm here wherever God's placed me, and I'm gonna force myself to bloom where I've been. I can't move. If I need to like bend a certain way to find the light, that's what I'm gonna do to find the light. I'm still looking forward to like the bloom of all my flowers and my veggies, and I'm gonna like eat it and cook it. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So I think that's what I'm gonna end today. Thank you so much for keeping me company. I don't know, I always like break out into a song and dance. But yeah, guys, we reached 2,700 subscribers. Oh my god. And the good part is we got monetized. Monetization dance. And I want to give a shout out to my dad. I lost my dad 13 years ago. Yesterday, June 30th, was his birthday. I monetized my channel on the 29th. So I think that was his birthday gift to me, to be like, Chisholm, I see you, I got you. I love you, daddy. And thank you so much for being with me, even though you're not on this planet anymore. Your essence is still very much felt and loved and appreciated. And yeah, so thank you for your gift to me.